Have you ever wondered why motivational content never seems to end? Every day, new videos pop up with dramatic music, deep quotes, and powerful speeches. Titles promise life-changing truths, secrets of success, and keys to unlocking your potential. But here's the uncomfortable question. If all this content was truly working, why would you still need to keep watching more of it? Why does it never stop? The truth is simple. Motivation channels profit from your attention, not from your transformation. Let's pull back the curtain. Motivation as an industry is massive. YouTube creators, influencers, and even companies have figured out that hope sells. People are searching for answers. They want shortcuts to success, inspiration to keep going, and fuel for their dreams. Motivation channels know this, and they design their content to keep you hooked. That's why so many videos look and sound the same. A speech from someone like Jim Rohn, Napoleon Hill, or a modern guru layered with intense background music and dramatic visuals. It feels powerful. It feels like change. But it's a performance designed to capture your attention, not to move your life forward. The business model is straightforward. The longer you watch, the more ads you see. The more ads you see, the more money the channel makes. If they can keep you addicted to the high of motivation, you'll keep coming back. It's no different from junk food. Junk food tastes good in the moment, but leaves you hungry again soon after. Motivational content works the same way. It gives you a quick emotional hit, but rarely nourishes you with practical tools for real change. That gap between feeling inspired and actually doing something is where these channels profit. Here's the irony. The more you consume, the less you act. Because watching feels like progress. You sit through a 20-minute motivational compilation and feel fired up. So you trick yourself into believing you've accomplished something. But nothing has changed in your real life. You're still sitting in the same room, still facing the same challenges, still avoiding the same hard work. Motivation channels rely on this illusion. If their videos truly pushed you into long-term action, you wouldn't need them anymore. They don't want you to graduate. They want you to stay dependent. Let's make this practical with a story. Meet Alex. Alex was 24 and obsessed with motivational content. Every morning, he started his day with a playlist of speeches from famous entrepreneurs and life coaches. He felt unstoppable while listening. But here's what happened. Hours passed and Alex hadn't actually done anything. His gym bag stayed by the door, untouched. His business idea sat in a notebook, never executed. He confused consuming motivation with creating progress. After months of this routine, he was in the same place he started, except now he felt even more frustrated. The motivation that was supposed to set him free became another trap. Alex's story is not unique. It's the story of millions. Why does this happen? Because motivation is addictive. Neuroscience shows that every time you watch something inspiring, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical. That dopamine hit makes you crave more. But like any addiction, the high doesn't last. So you come back again and again. Motivation channels understand this cycle perfectly. That's why they release endless streams of content. Daily uploads, compilations, shorts, reels. They're not trying to help you break free. They're feeding your addiction because your views pay their bills. And let's not ignore the marketing behind it. Many of these channels don't stop at ads. They funnel you into buying courses, books, or merchandise. They position themselves as gatekeepers of success, telling you that if you just buy their program, you'll finally unlock your potential. But most of the time, those programs recycle the same empty slogans you've already heard for free. The business isn't about transformation. It's about monetization. Even the classic voices like Napoleon Hill or Jim Rohn, while brilliant in their time, are often stripped of context and repackaged into endless clips. Their words become background noise for profit, detached from the real work those teachings require. What was once a philosophy becomes fast food for attention. Now, I want to be clear. There's nothing wrong with being inspired. A spark of motivation can be useful. But the problem begins when motivation becomes your daily diet instead of an occasional spark. When you rely on it every day just to get moving, you're no longer empowered. You're dependent. And dependency is exactly what these channels want from you. Because dependency equals profit. There's another layer to how motivation channels profit, and it's subtle, the way they frame your emotions. These videos often play on your fear, your insecurity, and your sense of inadequacy. They remind you of what you don't have, what you haven't achieved, what you've failed to do. Then they offer a quick emotional boost, a clip of someone yelling, "You can do it," or "Don't give up." It's a cycle of breaking you down and then patching you up with temporary inspiration. And every time you feel low again, you come back for another fix. This cycle is powerful because it mirrors how addictive industries work. Think about gambling. Casinos are designed so that most people lose, but they keep coming back for the thrill of maybe winning next time. Motivation channels operate the same way. Most viewers don't actually change their lives, but they keep coming back because the next video might be the one that finally flips a switch. That possibility keeps you hooked even though deep down, you know it's unlikely. Another trick is the use of success stories. Motivation channels love to showcase people who made it big, entrepreneurs, athletes, celebrities, and present their lives as proof that motivation works. But what they don't show is the survivorship bias. For every person who succeeded, thousands failed. By only showing you the winners, they make it seem like the formula is simple. Watch, believe, grind, and you'll make it too. In reality, it's not that simple. Success comes from consistent action, strategy, and often a bit of luck. But showing you failure doesn't sell. Selling you the dream does. And then there's the issue of recycling. If you've watched motivational content for a while, you've probably noticed that many videos say the same things. Wake up early. Don't quit. Believe in yourself. Work hard. Over and over again, the same slogans, just re-edited with different music or visuals. Why? Because recycling content is cheap and effective. You, the viewer, don't always notice that you're being fed the same lines dressed in different packaging. This allows channels to pump out endless content with minimal effort, keeping you glued to the screen without offering anything truly new. Let's bring in another story. This one is about Rachel. Rachel was in her 30s working a job she didn't love, and she turned to motivational videos as a lifeline. Every night she would binge watch clips, telling herself that tomorrow she would finally start her side business. She felt inspired while watching, but the inspiration faded by morning. Months passed, then years, and nothing changed. Rachel eventually realized that she wasn't using motivation as a tool. She was using it as a substitute for action. And the channels she followed had no interest in pushing her past that point. They were satisfied as long as she kept watching. Here's the tough truth. Motivation channels profit most when you don't succeed. If you actually take action, build discipline, and change your life, you won't need them anymore. Their entire business model depends on you staying stuck in the same loop. Struggle, seek motivation, feel inspired, take no action, struggle again. Each loop is another view, another ad, another paycheck for them. And don't forget the emotional manipulation of urgency. Phrases like "you're running out of time" or "you'll regret it if you don't start now" are sprinkled into videos because urgency drives engagement. It pushes you to click, to keep watching, to feel like you're missing out. It's a marketing tactic dressed as encouragement. They're not trying to help you manage your time better. They're trying to hold your attention longer. The irony is that the real path to success isn't flashy. It doesn't fit neatly into a 5-minute montage with epic music. Real change is slow, steady, and often boring. It's the small habits you repeat every day, the uncomfortable tasks you follow through on, the consistent effort you put in when no one's watching. But that doesn't get clicks. What gets clicks is drama, urgency, and hype. That's why motivational channels focus on performance instead of practical guidance. Because hype is profitable. One of the most overlooked aspects of motivational content is how it shifts responsibility. The message is always framed as if success is 100% about your mindset. If you just believe in yourself, you'll make it. If you just work harder, you'll get there. On the surface, this sounds empowering, but in reality, it ignores context, your environment, your resources, your circumstances. Not everyone starts from the same place, yet motivational channels pretend that success is simply a matter of willpower. And when you fail, you blame yourself, not the broken system that profits from keeping you stuck. That guilt drives you back to more content looking for answers. Again, they win when you lose. It's not just about individuals either. Entire companies now use motivational content to squeeze more out of workers. Corporations bring in motivational speakers to fire up employees, but the goal isn't personal growth, it's productivity. It's about keeping people motivated enough to work harder for the company's bottom line, not for their own lives. The motivational industry is deeply tied to profit at every level, from YouTube creators to billion-dollar organizations. And then there's the role of algorithms. Platforms like YouTube and TikTok prioritize content that keeps you watching. Motivational videos, with their emotional highs and dramatic storytelling, are perfect for this. The algorithm pushes them, creators make more ad revenue, and viewers get stuck in an endless loop. You might start with one video, but soon the recommendations drag you into hours of content. The more you consume, the deeper the cycle goes. It's not just content you're fighting, it's an entire system designed to keep you addicted. Consider the production style. Motivational channels are masters of presentation. They use cinematic music, slow-motion clips, and powerful imagery to trigger emotion. They know exactly how to time a speech with a rising soundtrack to make you feel chills. It's an art form, but it's also manipulation. The goal isn't clarity. The goal is to overwhelm your senses until you feel something powerful, even if that feeling disappears minutes later. That's why you leave inspired but empty-handed. Let's ground this with another story. Think about Kevin, a college student who dreamed of becoming an entrepreneur. Instead of studying business or experimenting with small projects, he spent most nights watching motivational montages. He felt like he was learning, but in reality, he was just consuming. Years later, Kevin realized he had built nothing. He was living off secondhand energy from other people's words while his own ideas stayed locked in his mind. Motivation had become entertainment, not education. And that's another key point. Motivation channels blur the line between education and entertainment. They make you believe you're learning, but you're not. Learning requires struggle, practice, and application. Motivation only gives you a temporary emotional state. It's the difference between reading about swimming and actually jumping into the pool. But because motivation feels like progress, you can spend years stuck in consumption mode. And all the while, the creators profit. Here's the most important shift to understand. Action beats inspiration every single time. Watching someone else climb a mountain won't make you stronger. Listening to someone else talk about discipline won't build your habits. Reading another quote won't replace the discomfort of practice. Real growth begins when you shut off the videos and start doing the work. Motivation can spark you, but action sustains you. And yet, most motivational content never emphasizes this. Because if you truly acted, you wouldn't need their videos anymore. This brings us back to the uncomfortable truth. The motivational industry isn't built to help you escape. It's built to keep you consuming. If you remain dependent, they remain profitable. That's why so many channels never give you real step-by-step systems. Systems are harder to create, harder to follow, and less entertaining. But hype is cheap, easy, and profitable. So ask yourself honestly, how many hours have you spent watching motivation instead of building your own path? How many dreams have been delayed because you were too busy chasing the next emotional high? These are tough questions, but they matter, because the moment you recognize the trap, you can step out of it. Here's the paradox. Motivation channels constantly tell you to take control of your life, yet they depend on you never truly doing it. Because once you take control, once you start building discipline, once you make progress, their content loses its grip on you. That's why the cycle continues. They keep feeding you hype and you keep chasing it. They don't profit from your success. They profit from your search. Think about how often you've heard the same phrases. Don't give up. Success takes hard work. Stay hungry, stay focused. These are true statements, but they're empty without context. What should you not give up on? How should you structure that hard work? What specific steps should you take to stay focused? Motivation channels rarely answer these questions because real answers require depth, strategy, and nuance. Instead, they stay at the surface because the surface is easy to package and sell. The danger is that this leaves you chasing inspiration instead of building consistency. And consistency, not inspiration, is what transforms lives. Waking up early one day because a video told you to won't change much. Waking up early for 300 days, building a routine and using that time intentionally, that changes everything. But consistency is unglamorous. It's not cinematic. That's why you don't see many viral videos about someone quietly showing up day after day. Instead, you see speeches, fire, and noise, because noise sells. Let's look at another example. There's a man named David who worked as a delivery driver but dreamed of becoming a graphic designer. Every night, he would watch motivational videos about following your passion. He even shared them on social media, writing captions about chasing dreams. But when it came time to actually practice design, he avoided it. Why? Because practicing was hard. Watching videos was easy. Motivation gave him the illusion of progress, but his skills never improved. Years later, he looked back and realized he had spent more time listening to others talk about success than building his own. That realization hit hard. He hadn't failed because he wasn't motivated. He failed because he confused motivation with action. And this is the trap so many fall into. Motivation is not bad, but it's incomplete. It's like striking a match. A match can light a fire, but if you don't add wood, the flame dies. Motivation is the match. Action, discipline, and systems are the wood. Without them, the fire goes out, and you're back in the dark, searching for another match. The channels are more than happy to sell you another one. So how do you break the cycle? First, recognize that these channels are businesses. Their primary goal is profit, not your growth. Once you understand that, you can consume their content with awareness instead of addiction. Use motivation sparingly, like a spark, not a drug. Second, replace passive consumption with active effort. Instead of watching 10 videos, pick one action and actually do it. If you want to get fit, go for a walk. If you want to start a business, sketch out your first product idea. If you want to learn a skill, practice for 30 minutes today. Small steps done consistently beat endless hours of passive inspiration. And third, build discipline. Discipline isn't exciting, but it's powerful. It's what separates dreamers from doers. Motivation may get you started, but discipline keeps you moving when the hype fades. Ask anyone who's achieved something meaningful. Athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, they'll tell you the same thing. They didn't rely on being motivated every day. They relied on showing up even when they didn't feel like it. That's the difference. The truth is, you don't need more motivational speeches. You need more commitment to your own journey. You don't need louder music or stronger slogans. You need practical habits, consistency, and patience. Success doesn't come from watching others talk about it. It comes from living it, step by step. So the next time you click on a motivational video, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, am I here to escape action or am I here to fuel it? If you're using motivation as a spark to take immediate steps, it can serve you. But if you're using it as a substitute for action, you're feeding the very system that profits from your inaction. Remember this, motivation channels profit when you keep watching. You profit when you start doing. Don't get stuck making someone else rich while your own dreams collect dust. At Unhyped, we're not here to keep you hooked on hype. We're here to break the cycle. To remind you that the real secret isn't hidden in another video. It's already in your hands, and it's the choice to act today without waiting for another speech, another quote, another playlist. Stop giving your time away. Stop funding the hype machine. Start building the life you want. One unglamorous, consistent action at a time. Because at the end of the day, hype fades, but action lasts.